I do think skill for skill, Whittaker is a pretty far superior fighter. Ritter almost reminds me of like DDP and like his awkwardness, but like the way that he's able to win. You know what I mean? Like I remember when DDP was like coming up in the UFC, you're watching him in these fights, and you're like, this guy like looks like he's gonna die for the whole 24 minutes, and then he somehow is winning the whole time.
Welcome to the Fighters Forecast.
Everybody, welcome back. This is episode 38, the Fighters Forecast. If we look the same as we did in the last episode, if you're watching this on YouTube, which I didn't even say this last episode, like and subscribe to YouTube, please. Like, we've got a lot of cool stuff out on there. The shorts, we're having a lot of fun putting those out. Podcast episodes are out there. Please like and subscribe on the YouTube. You especially want to be following up soon, because once we get in person and once we can do, watch parties, live episodes, fight awards, all that kind of stuff that we're going to start, you're going to want to be tuned in for that. So, that is all to say. Like and subscribe on the YouTube, follow the podcast feed, do all that kind of stuff. Drew, last episode I asked you, which was recorded about 10 minutes ago, I asked you how you're doing. Instead of how you're doing, how about, oh God, voice crack already. How about some life advice for the audience to start tonight's episode?
Life advice.
What's your insight of the night?
Insight. Sometimes hobbies help you figure out what things you really want to do in life. Like, for instance, for me, I didn't start video editing or anything until really this podcast, I started doing videos, and I would just post them online just for fun, and eventually some of them did very well, and I was like, okay, maybe I actually kind of have a talent for this thing, and I started doing other stuff through it, and I eventually got my own camera, started learning how to edit, how to color grade, how to do a bunch of different stuff, and it kind of really expanded from there. I started doing it a little bit as a little bit of work, and not even necessarily to talk about video editing itself, but I guess I kind of realized that I really enjoy producing things. So I love graphic design. I love, like I said, video editing. I like film. I like and different stuff like that. And I feel and I never really explored that until doing other hobbies and doing things that I had never really seriously considered. And it doesn't necessarily just apply to doing a podcast. That's a very niche thing, but I think a lot of times people are skeptical of doing something, and even if you don't fully commit to that specific thing, it might eventually show you other things that you are interested in. So I do think that's something that people should try more.
Dude, what a golden nugget. I mean, goodness gracious.
We're changing this to a life advice podcast now. Yeah.
If the people want to hear, we have plenty to give. Not much experience because we're still in college, but we can make.
What about you? I need some life advice from you, man.
You know what's funny? I was actually talking to a incoming, get this, so the producer I work for that works for Ariel's show, Eric Jackman, shout out New York Rick, he texted me a while ago and said, there's this kid Henry who is coming into UNC as a freshman who just emailed me about advice for getting into this industry. And it was so funny because that's exactly what I did when I got to UNC. I emailed Rick and we started talking. Long story short, this kid gets connected to me too, and we have this 30-minute conversation. He's really interested in combat sports. His name is Henry. He kind of looks like me. It's really weird.
You got a clone, man.
It kind of blows my mind. He's in the boxing club too. It's kind of weird. It was really cool to talk to him because what it made me kind of reinforce, and the lessons I've gained from talking to people in fields like that is, if you want something, if you're interested in something, like you said, if there are people you look up to, reach out to them. People, what Eric Jackman told me when I reached out to him over email, is that, it's always good to send emails and feelers out to people, because if they don't respond, they don't respond. But a lot of people are willing to give you their time, and if you just think they aren't, and you don't send an email out, you're never going to get anything. So I think that applies to life in general. you know? Do things you're a little bit afraid of. Reach out to people, talk to people you don't know, you know? Good things can come out of it. And, you know, as Clone Henry expressed to me as well, a lot of good comes out of it. But yeah, that's, man, Drew, you kind of got me thinking here. I kind of like this segment.
Now I just want to do an episode with Clone Henry.
Should I bring Henry on?
Not address it at all. Just like one episode where it's like, so Henry, just keep going.
He's a big UFC fan. Like he's into it too. I'll get him on. I'll get Clone Henry on. But yeah, I mean the episode is not about this. Sorry guys. This episode is Whittaker de Ridder breakdown. We kind of got off track for like 5 minutes there, but if you're still with us, thank you. Very exciting fight night. You know, it's one of these showcase cards in the Middle East, Yas Island to be exact, in the UAE, that is often packed with these fighters from that region of the world. And, you know, Whittaker seems to find his way out to these cards. And as people that have been listening to this podcast probably know, Whittaker's my favorite fighter. He's been my favorite fighter since I became a fan of the sport. It is scary to watch your favorite fighter age. That's for sure. I'm sure you know that, Drew. I'm sure a lot of people know that. It's scary. Whittaker obviously coming off of a loss to Hamzat. Kind of a freak accident. I know he definitely lost that fight, but his like teeth freaking like his jaw like dislocated and like his teeth can't. It was like crazy stuff. On like a neck crank or jaw crank. Sorry. So definitely a comeback is needed for Whittaker here, but I would say that the momentum is on de Ridder's side for sure. You know, de Ridder is a veteran in combat sports, 20-2, doesn't really tell the story. I think he's been in one championship. Very exciting fight. Let me scroll down a little bit here so I can get the odds. Yeah, Whittaker is a -160. I think that makes sense. De Ridder obviously coming off of that win against Bo Nickel, that huge upset win against Bo Nickel. And I'm not going to give my prediction yet. We all know where I'm going to lean. This is a great card. Drew, how are you feeling about it? And give me your take on this one.
Yeah, I mean this is a very good fight. The thing that surprised me the most is that this is only de Ridder's 4th fight in the UFC. It's kind of crazy just how quickly he shot up within the division. I believe his first fight was less than a year ago. This will be the fight's on what, the 27th? No.
26, I believe.
26. Yeah, so this will be his 4th fight in less than 9 months. So just crazy activity in the fact that, I mean, he's going against a top 5 guy already. So it's just or I believe Whittaker now 6th? Because I believe it's I could be wrong, but I believe it's
number 5. He's number 5.
Okay, 5. Yeah. Okay, that sounds about right. But yeah, I mean, this is a good fight. I don't know who to pick. I do know that Whittaker is coming in at favorite, but when you see a guy like de Ridder go against
watch your words, man.
When you've seen the momentum that de Ridder has, it does make me a bit skeptical. I will say I think I'll figure out my answer along the way, but I do think the one interesting thing is I do think feels a bit premature to put de Ridder against as much of a decorated guy as Robert Whittaker. Not to say that de Ridder hasn't had good performances, but I mean, let's look at his wins. He's had 3 fights so far. Submission win over Gerald Meerschaert. Submission win over Kevin Holland, and then a weird knockout, kind of like a knee to the liver almost in a sense to Bo Nickel. But I mean, realistically, if you really look at those fights, a lot of people were kind of saying that Bo Nickel wasn't to the level that people were saying that he was. Kevin Holland floats around every like welterweight and middleweight. I would argue that welterweight is his better division, so not as interesting. And then Meerschaert, I mean, he's in the middleweight division. That's about all I can say. But at the same time, I don't want to discredit de Ridder. I mean, he's 20-2, 3 fights in the UFC, all all stoppage wins within actually the all within like all stoppage wins.
Yeah, let me interject here real quick to kind of correct what I said before while you're talking about his resume. He was a very decorated one championship double champion, so very good resume there. But yeah, continue just to kind of set the scene there.
And it does seem that he's almost like the opposite in the sense of like what the Patchy Mix or like the Patricio Pitbull is, where you have these guys coming in that were really high level champions and they're immediately thrown at the Sharks to some degree, and they just don't seem to perform. Whereas it's like almost the opposite for DeRitter. I mean, like you said, double champ at one, but it seems like he's kind of put in this lower echelon of what middleweight division is, and since then he's been able to kind of shoot up from it. And maybe they're just realizing that he's just such a high level guy. But this is not going to be an easy fight for him. I think Whittaker definitely has the experience advantage to some extent. I mean, look at the guys that Whittaker's fought. I mean, his last fight going against a good guy that's fighting for the championship soon. So I want to say DeRitter. I think, and realistically, I do think that DeRitter probably wins 6 out of 10 times. But I do think that Whittaker has the experience. I think he's going to put a lot of pressure on. I do think he's going to be on a different level than what he's seen so far. And I think that could honestly be just the biggest disadvantage here. Like, and it's kind of the issue with jumping up so high. Like, if you're kind of acclimated to what Bo Nickal's level is or what Kevin Holland's level is, whenever you go up to a guy like Robert Whittaker, who you could probably beat if you were prepared enough for it, you're just not going to be used to that jump. And I think that might be what happens here. I think Whittaker has really great striking. We've seen how he does against guys that aren't in the top 5. I mean, he dusts pretty much anybody that is not a top 5 fighter. And if DeRitter goes out and wins, and that just truly shows that he's a great prospect. But I do think Whittaker is going to come back. I think he's going to get a win. So I'll say Robert Whittaker knockout in the second round.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be a very close fight. And I could see it going either way, honestly.
Yeah. I think what makes this fight a little bit scary to me, I think skill for skill, Whittaker actually is pretty superior in almost every area. I know that's a little bit disrespectful to DeRitter's grappling, as you can see as the stats I pulled up there, much higher takedown average, submission rate, all that kind of stuff. But I think that Whittaker kind of thrives in these power puncher, wrestler, obviously minus Hamzat Chimaev, but I'm not going to really put that much stock into that fight considering we didn't really. DeRitter's not Hamzat. That's all I gotta say. He's not the explosive wrestler of Hamzat Chimaev. And I think that this style of like Yoel Romero, Kelvin Gastelum at that point in his career to an extent, that kind of fighter is Whittaker does really well against because he has such good 81% takedown defense. Like that's pretty awesome. And he's got such clean striking. People forget that the fight before Hamzat, he dusted Ikram Alaskarov, who was on a little bit of a streak of his own. They're both 34, so I don't really want to hear people saying that DeRitter is some young up-and-coming prospect. And I just think that Whittaker is coming to the end of his career. I think this is probably his last run, and if he can't get it done here, that might be the end of his last run, unless he kind of wants to fight back a little bit, which I don't really get the sense that Whittaker does. And I mean, when I say fight back, I mean like kind of be the gatekeeper. I do think that Whittaker gets done here, and I think the only way that I could see Whittaker losing this fight is kind of getting caught, which does tend to happen. Bobby Knuckles is not known to have the greatest of all chins, but I do think skill for skill, Whittaker is a pretty far superior fighter. DeRitter almost reminds me of like DDP in like his awkwardness, but like the way that he's able to win. You know what I mean? Like I remember when DDP was like coming up in the UFC, you're watching him in these fights, and you're like, this guy like looks like he's gonna die for the whole 24 minutes, and then he somehow is winning the whole time. It's like such a weird thing. And not to say that DeRitter is quite that unorthodox, but he is not the most technically sound fighter where I'm like, wow, like this guy really can make this leap above all these guys just based on pure striking or pure grappling or any of that. He kind of is a grindy guy, and I do not think that's the style that beats Rob Whittaker. So I like the way you're leaning. I think most likely scenario is Whittaker by decision because that's kind of what he tends to do. But I do think that he can catch him on the way in with like a knee or an uppercut or some kind of boxing combo, or even one of his patented 1-2 head kicks. So I think he's going to catch him with something coming in. I think he's going to finish him in the third round. Make a different prediction there.
I like it. I will say one thing that is very is interesting statistic that just shows like how high level Robert Whittaker is. The last time Robert Whittaker lost to a non-championship contender fighter within the UFC, meaning a fighter that has fought for the belt, was against Court McGhee
Wow.
in 2013.
And that was when he was a welterweight.
Yeah.
Yes, like that. He different division.
And really it's only been 4 losses. 5 losses. Sorry, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Israel Adesanya again, Dreykus, and then obviously Khamzat Chimaev. So
yeah, top of the top.
You got to be really good to beat Robert Whittaker. I think a lot of people are forgetting that.
Yeah, I like it. I like that, Drew. Thank you. You kind of won me back over.
Just feeding into the delusion here.
Nothing to talk about here because this fight is not happening. Movzar pulled out of his fight against Aaron Pico, which is really disappointing because I was really excited to see that one. And I think I saw some stat about the amount of pullouts that Movzar has in his career, and it's like a crazy high amount. So nothing really to say there except for really disappointed. Another high-ranked contender from another organization coming in. Could have been a fun fight, but yet again, Movzar is kind of handed the short end of the stick, and not his fault, obviously. I hope, but has to pull out of that one. But a fight that is happening, fight that is exciting because it's Peter Yan, but a little bit confusing because he's fighting number 13 Marcus McGhee. Peter Yan is they just kind of love to hand him to, like, do you remember when it was, I think it was the Whittaker, I think it was the Whittaker, or maybe it was the Adesanya Yan card, or whatever, it doesn't really matter what card it was, but when Peter Yan had to fight Sean O'Malley when he was like the number 10 ranked contender in the world.
That was Charles versus Islam.
Okay, so I was very wrong, but whatever. Neither of the two I picked out were right. But I remember the talk then was like, dang, like Sean O'Malley was a big contender, but he's number 10 and he's fighting against the number 1 contender, Peter Yan. Like, what in the world is happening? This feels similar to a point, except for Marcus McGhee is not Sean O'Malley. Obviously 10-1, coming off of a win. He's got really great striking. He's a very technical guy, but I mean, Peter Yan is Peter Yan, and I am kind of confused by this booking, except for the fact that maybe they told Peter Yan, if you get a good win here, do us a favor, we'll give you the title shot. So, what do you think of this one, Drew?
Yeah, this fight does not, like you said, it doesn't really make sense to me. I think realistically, you would probably put, if I was a matchmaker, I'd probably put him against. It's just weird. He's the number 3 guy. We're talking about Corey Sandhagen possibly fighting Merab. I think a fight with Umar would be fun if Umar doesn't get put up against Merab. But the 13 spot just does not make sense to me. I could understand maybe a fight from Mario Batista up if you wanted to fight down, but it just seems like a massive drop. And don't get me wrong, McGhee has 4 fights in the UFC, 3 of them being by finishes. But
here is last 3 wins right here.
But still, nothing as significant as what Yan has done. Really, if you look at his last 3 fights, he beat Song Yadong, he beat Davison Figueiredo, and then I believe the loss prior to that was Merab. Yeah, all really high level guys. If you really look at it, and it just doesn't make sense to me. And who knows? Maybe Marcus McGhee is just this underground guy who comes out and really becomes like a top guy in the division really quickly that we just don't like. Just like kind of pops up out of nowhere. But I don't really see it. There's nothing really to indicate to me that he would be at the level of Peter Yan. I'm honestly surprised that it's only minus 400, but maybe matchmakers know something we don't. Let's not forget Peter Yan is the younger guy here. He's 3 years younger. He's 3 years younger, and his.
How old is McGhee?
McGhee is 35 years old.
Dang.
Yeah. Slight reach and height advantage for McGhee, but he does strike slightly higher than Yan, but at the same time, I don't think he's ever gone against a guy that has had the pure boxing form that Peter Yan has. I mean, if you go back and you watch that Song Yadong fight, you really just see that in full force. And then also, I think, and Peter Yan has the grappling advantage there. So this is a weird fight for me. I don't think there's a finish here. I mean, if there's a finish, I think it would come from McGhee. I don't think any situation where there's a decision would not go to Peter Yan. But I think Yan just fought some of the best guys in the world, and I don't think there's anything that McGhee is going to bring to the table that Yan has not already seen before, if not better. So I'll say Peter Yan by decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be my pick as well. The more I look at this, it seems to me like it might be a little bit of a setup fight for Peter Yan. I know he's probably a bigger star in that region of the world, just because he's from Russia, and McGhee. If you look at these stats, he has got a very high knockout. 80% of his UFC fights have ended by finish. He's got a 1.37 knockdown average in 15 minutes, so that's really high. Definitely going to be a striker's delight, but I think Peter Yan is just kind of better everywhere, and he hasn't really taken a step. Even in his losses, he just kind of has been getting wrestled. He's not getting outstruck by anybody. The only guy he's getting dominated by is the bantamweight goat, Merab Dvalishvili. So, yeah, I'm going to say Peter Yan by decision as well. I think that's a pretty clear path to victory from him.
I'll ask you this. Say Peter Yan does win. Let's assume that Merab beats Corey Sandhagen whenever they face. Do you do Peter Yan versus Merab, or do you do Umar? Because that's a difficult question. Because objectively, I would say Peter Yan deserves it. I mean, he's obviously fought the number 13 guy when he was the number 3 guy. But at the same time, it's Umar. I mean, I think a lot of people would argue that Umar won those first 2 rounds, or at least the first round against Merab, and then I believe Umar did say that he broke his arm or something. Maybe that affects it, but it's just a weird, especially in how dominant of a fashion that Merab beat Peter Yan. I believe it was 22 takedown attempts or something like that. Just a crazy number. But yeah, do you take Peter Yan there?
Do not give me Peter Yan versus Merab ever again, please. I do not want to see that fight. Oh my god,
as a pay-per-view main event too.
I cannot watch that fight. Not even. I'm not even trying to say that it's the most boring fight of all time, but my god, I have never seen someone get taken down so many times in my life. I've never seen such frustration on my face than I saw on Peter Yan's face. If this scenario happens that you're talking about, either give me Umar. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight again, or
Sean O'Malley too.
I mean, I would rather. You know what? Actually, yeah, that's a good fight. I would like to see that. What I was going to say from Rob, give me Pantoja moving up to fight him, or move up and fight Alex Volkanovski. Like do something crazy. I think he deserves it at this point.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Next one up here. We're kind of zooming through this. I like it. These have been pretty clear to me at first, but this one, man. Whew, not even as a fight, just the fact that Bryce Mitchell is out in the Middle East, the UFC decided to bring this guy out to this card, just completely blows my mind. What are they trying to cause an incident or something? Are they trying to have someone get badly hurt? What is the thinking here?
If something is not thrown at Bryce Mitchell, or if he somehow does not end up in a Abu Dhabi prison by the end of this, I will be very surprised, because he does not seem like the stay quiet in foreign countries type by any means necessary.
I am a little bit confused by this booking. Now, it should be a pretty good fight. Saeed Nurmagomedov is arguably one of the least impressive of the Nurmagomedov clan, but still obviously a fan favorite in this one. And again, this could definitely be them feeding the American to the fan favorite fighter. You know what I mean? This could be Bryce Mitchell is being served up on a platter, but I don't really think it is that kind of fight. I'm not going to say that Bryce Mitchell wins here, because I don't think that is the case. But this is, you know what? I just realized I completely glossed over this. This is Bryce Mitchell's bantamweight debut. I totally forgot he is moving down. So that's actually pretty interesting to see how he does. He's talked about for a while how little weight he has to cut. But Yes, I know you're kind of ready to jump on this fight, but I don't really. I know you're a huge Bryce Mitchell fan, Drew. So I'll let you cook in a second.
What do you mean by that, man?
You
Don't say that.
support the guy, not the fighter, is all I know. But
Talking about.
oh
Cut
my,
that, cut that out. Cut that out.
it's getting too late over here, dude. I'm just rambling, but
So this is why I think Bryce Mitchell
that's the next.
flatlined said
That's the
Nurmagomedov.
that's the next short title is here's why Bryce Mitchell should represent the UFC. Anyways, I don't really know what to expect of this one. Bryce Mitchell is pretty much exclusively a grappler. Saeed mixes it up pretty well, but he is primarily a striker, if I am not mistaken. I do remember, yeah, so definitely primarily a striker. Pretty good takedown defense, but he can kind of mix it up pretty well. I'm not seeing the odds here, but in my head, I would kind of lean towards the Saeed decision. Just I think he's able to mix it up pretty well. He's acclimated to that part of the world. He is under Nurmagomedov. And I don't really see him getting dominated on the ground in a way that Bryce Mitchell would probably have to do, especially because he is experienced at this weight class.
Yeah, I mean, I think. I mean, really, if you look at Said's resume, I mean, his most recent loss being to Vinicius Oliveira, who's we talked about him before. I mean, he's a really impressive fighter, and he just kind of brings this on, like you said, unorthodox striking style that is really just hard to compete with. And like you said is a primarily a striker, which is a bit of a rarity coming out of the Dagestan area. Which I mean, we're gonna see another guy like that in the next fight. But yeah, I mean, it's just a weird fight to pick overall. I mean, um, I think the most interesting thing, like you said, is Bryce Mitchell's. This is like his first fight at bantamweight. It would be interesting to see how his style changes because, um, I guess he was kind of primarily a grappler. I mean, obviously he's a jujitsu black belt. He's got most of his success from that, but I still think it's just a weird fight. I think, like you said, I think Said is used to this weight class, and I think that's the main thing that's gonna keep it that way or keep it in Said's direction. And yeah, I mean, I just don't think anything super significant is gonna happen out of this fight. Like, there's only two men. Sorry about that. There's only like two mental images I have of this fight, and it's either Said just like kind of Sean Strickland-esque jabs Bryce Mitchell for 15 minutes and then wins by decision, or somehow by the grace of God, Bryce Mitchell like stuns Said Nurmagomedov and then gets a rear naked choke win. But I think Said option is much more realistic, so I will say agree with you and say Said Nurmagomedov by decision.
Yeah, hard one to predict. Not much standing between these guys. We haven't seen either of them kind of dominate anybody in a while, but um, this one's really good. Shara Magomedov versus Marc-Andre Barriault. This is the last fight on this card we're going to break down. I'm not going to talk too much about this one, Drew, because I know this is your boy. The blind in one eye only has he been able to fight in the US yet? I don't
I
think
don't think
so,
he's
right?
allowed to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that is a bit of a weird thing. Coming off of a loss against MVP in what was a really impressive performance by MVP and kind of like brushed Charbullet under the rug because he was a really highly touted prospect. And I would say he still is based on the fact that he's almost a minus 800 favorite here. But Drew, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think Charbullet's stock went down just a tiny bit when after his fight with MVP, and obviously that wasn't the result anyone was expecting. I believe Shara did go in as a favorite for that
Yeah,
fight.
big
I
one.
could be wrong, but I think that more so just speaks to the style that MVP brings. I think that kind of really catered to the style that Shara Magomedov has. Like, he's much more of a diversified fighter who relies a lot on body kicks, leg kicks, and like swinging hooks essentially. And he's just a really fast guy that throws these really weird combinations that you eventually get caught by. I mean, we saw that fight against, I believe it was his fight prior to the MVP fight where he kind of just kicked that guy around, kicked his opponent around a lot, and then just throws out this like double hezzy spinning elbow that knocks him out, like something like you've never seen before within the UFC. That kind of just like explains Shara Magomedov to a T. But he's facing Marc-Andre Barriault, who is a good fighter, relatively. Um, Coming off a win against Bruno Silva, which is
Pretty good
impressive.
win. Yeah.
Before that, he got like pretty much flatlined by Joe Pyfer. He lost to, and he's coming off 2 round 1 knockouts. So not, or I mean, or he had 2 round 1 knockouts losses
Oh,
in
what happened to
2024.
him? Yeah.
So obviously he does get opened up a little bit to knockouts. So that's obviously there. But I think the main thing here is that I think Shara's going to will have learned a lot from that MVP fight. I think that point fighting style that MVP kind of does, where he just waits for the perfect moment for you to like step in or like put a foot up or a foot down before you like throws almost like a flying jab at you. I think that just made it too easy for him to kind of contradict Shaw's
Yeah. Sorry, I
style.
played the game a little bit too much with him.
But Marc Andre Barriault does not have that fighting style. I think he's a very cut and dry fighter. I think you kind of know what you're getting whenever you fight a guy like Marc Andre Barriault, like kind of just swing and pray type dude. I mean, he's got lots of power. I will add that, but from what I've seen, his striking defense is not good, and I think as the fight progresses, I don't think it's a round 1 knockout per se, but I do think as the fight progresses, he's really going to open up. I think Char's going to wear him down with his legs. Um, and I will say the most impressive thing about Shara is that he's able to attack from his back really really well. I remember his fight against I believe it was Bruno Silva that he also fought, which is kind of like in a sense a little bit of a full circle moment. He was the first fighter I've ever seen to win a round off of his back because he was just throwing these elbows and like weird combinations, like flying kicks from his back, and it was just the most interesting thing I've seen. But I do think he's going to eventually wear him down, and I think the diversity of striking is just going to be too much. And he's going to eventually get caught. So I'll say Shara Bullet 3rd round knockout.
Yeah. Just pulling up the grappling here. The takedown average on the side of Mark is 0.21 per 15 minutes, so we're probably not going to see much grappling.
I don't know, man. I don't know. He get one of those bad kicks, and he's going to turn into a grappler real
How
quick.
many takedowns do you even have to attempt to get that low of a number like that? yeah, did yeah, do the math.
Okay, that means he's got 3 takedowns
In his whole
in
UFC
his whole
career.
career in 15 fights. So he
Wow.
one takedown every 5 fights, essentially.
Yeah. So I don't think it's gonna go that direction. I think in my I want to say like round 1 knockout Shara. I think he definitely has the advantage pretty much everywhere here. Like everything you said, but I do think that we see him kind of get his timing, get his rhythm. I don't think he jumps on Barrio like immediately. I think maybe towards the end of the first round he kind of starts putting it on him, and I do think he catches. I think exactly what you said, except for I'm going to say 1 round earlier, and I'm going to say round 2 knockout from Shara Bullet. So that's it for this card. Let's scroll through the prelims, make sure we're not missing anything. A lot of rankings on the line here, but other than the ones we broke down, not too much um, else to say here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for our breakdown of this one. Whittaker to Ritter, really good fight night. I think it's happening at like 3 p.m. probably main card start time. Isn't that usually when these cards start?
That
Um,
sounds about right. Yeah.
yeah, something like that, which I don't mind. I don't mind the occasional afternoon fight night for UFC, but should be a good one. Let's see what else do we got coming up here, Drew? Should we take a little look at the schedule?
Yeah. Can't hurt. Let's see. Got
So this might actually end up being the last fight night that
before we
we.
get back. Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably so. This is the last fight night before we get back to UNC. So it might be a little bit after these 2 episodes come out. Seems like there might be a little bit of a break. I don't know what we're going to be able to get out in that time, but the next episodes after these ones, I guess not, 'cause we're going to do a reaction episode. But soon we'll be in person. Everything will be very nice. So look forward to that. We're very excited about that. We hope you enjoyed the advice. You know, take it with you. We got some stuff in the works. Like and subscribe to YouTube. We love we love engagement there. If you watch the YouTube, follow the podcast, do all that kind of stuff, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, just do all the cool stuff you guys have been doing. We'll do other cool stuff we've been doing, and have a good week. So I'm Henry.
I'm Drew.
Any final thoughts?
I think we're good. Yeah.
Stay cool. We're out.
Bye.